Daryl Verfy is commanding officer at Marine Safety Unit Valdez. Here, he discusses the most important things the Coast Guard wants mariners visiting Prince William Sound to know prior to leaving port. He says safety, preparedness, and knowing your surroundings are key.
Familiarize yourself with the charts. Familiarize yourself with the sound. We have some distinct issues and areas in the sound, such as the fixed security zones, which don't exist in other places. So there is a security zone around the Alyeska terminal, 0.8 miles off the shore and 1.7 miles wide. It's marked by yellow buoys. Sometimes you can't see those in the fog. And in addition, there's moving security zones around all the oil tankers. So, it's very tempting to go up to the oil tankers and take photos. But anywhere in the sound, there's a fixed security zone of 200 yards around them. So again, we would ask, please stay away from the ships. It's for your safety.
Verfy urges owners of recreational boats and fishing vessels to get a voluntary dockside exam, which the Coast Guard provides free of charge. He said the Coast Guard Auxiliary can inspect boats locally in Valdez.
They're non-punitive in nature. They'll go through your boat. They'll give you a list of things that you may be lacking. Maybe your flares are expired or your life jackets need to be renewed. But, you have to be self-sufficient. There are resources in the Sound, search and rescue resources, but they're not as near and dear as other places in the country. So it may take a while for them to get to you depending on where you are. So again, being ready, being prepared for the worst is really the responsibility of the mariner.
Verfy discusses emergency response in Prince William Sound.
The Sound is very large, and logistically speaking, it's a difficult place to operate. So, we rely on Good Samaritans quite often, and the fishing vessel community has really been helpful. They've played critical roles in snatching people off sinking vessels. So they're out there all the time. Our resources aren't. So you may have to wait. If you're offshore quite a ways, then the only avenue is either the Long Island, the Coast Guard cutter, or helicopter. And helicopter is usually the way to go. That's why we have the largest air stations in Alaska versus other places in the country. So it's a vast place, so you have to be prepared.
Lieutenant John Christensen, commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Long Island, and Chief Thad Wagner of Station Valdez discuss what mariners can expect in terms of emergency response in the Sound. Christensen talks about the cutter Long Island, which rotates with patrol boats in Seward and Homer in covering all of Prince William Sound and into the Gulf of Alaska.
There's an issue in Prince William Sound, you're going to get a response within a couple of hours. If it happens to be the boat that's over in Homer, you're looking at more of a 24-hour response time. And it all depends on what the weather is, depends on which boats are assigned, depends on what the nature of the distress is. If it's an emergency that needs somebody on scene right away, you'll also have Air Station Kodiak, and they can provide air assets to get out to you. But if it's something that's not as life-threatening and critical at the moment, you may have to wait a little bit until a cutter can get on scene.
Wagner on the importance of filing a float plan with the Coast Guard prior to heading out into the Sound.
Basically, tell someone where you're going, how you're getting there, and when you plan on coming back, so that when that doesn't happen, then we can promptly take action and know where to at least start. If you do deviate from your float plan, make sure to pass that on to somebody so that it gives us a better idea of where to start looking first in the event of something unforeseen comes up.
Operations Specialist James Worths discusses what he calls the big 5 questions the Coast Guard looks for in a good distress call and provides an example.
That's the position, the number of people on the boat, the nature of distress, and then the description of the vessel. And then we'll always ask if they have their PFDs on, just kind of a reminder, because when it's a high-stress situation, people will tend to forget. So that's the things we're going to be looking for. It could be anytime they're in trouble. I mean, if they've taken on water, run aground, fire, lost, their equipment's not working, engines broke down, out of gas, any number of things that can be happening, sometimes in combination. You want to make sure you say Mayday 3 times. You want to give your name of the vessel. You want to give a position, and if you have GPS and geographic, that works well, and your nature of distress. So that would be Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is the vessel no name. In position 6011.58 north, 14738.21 west. In the Valdez Arm, we are taking on water with 3 persons on board. Mayday.
Verfy reiterates that it's all about being prepared.
The environment in Alaska is unforgiving. It's not like other places in the country, and so what may be okay in some areas to navigate, here it's a little, as I said, more unforgiving in Prince William Sound and certainly the Gulf of Alaska.